Welcome to another Soccer Down at MB1, where we catch up with everything going on around the world of soccer. This time, it's time to take a visit to Contra Costa FC and catch up with Chairman Gus Laredo with some activity going on at the NPSL. Gus, thanks for hanging out with 1B1.
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity to be here.
All right, so for those that don't know about what's going on there in Northern California, what is going on there at Contra Costa these days?
Well, so we just joined the NPSL. It was announced last week. We're joining the Golden Gate Conference out here, which is made up of some very, very good teams, and we're excited to join. We're located in the East Bay of San Francisco.
So when it came to wanting to join the NPSL, how long was the thought process and wanting to sit there and take this next step with everything that you've been developing over the last handful of years?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a little background. So Contra Costa FC has been around since 2015. I actually have been involved with the club, but from the outside due to other projects. I took over the club last February, right before the shutdown. And we were going to just continue to go down the path we had been in another league. But what happened was, this shutdown allowed us to kind of take a step backwards, backwards, definitely backwards, but certainly take a step back and evaluate where we wanted to be. My background is I'm an entrepreneur, so I kind of like to challenge the status quo. So what I wanted to do was accelerate our roadmap. And we looked at a couple of leagues, and NPSL was certainly one that attracted us due to the level of play, the commitment from the NPSL, and of course, a platform for our players in the East Bay.
When it came to having to do this, you signed on with the idea right before the beginning of all the shutdowns with COVID-19, and knowing how things have been there in California, whether it's Northern California, Southern California, or all points in between. How difficult was it in this past year, knowing what you wanted to do, but you were kind of just waiting for things to happen? How difficult was it to own and manage Contra Costa with everything going on around you?
Yeah, it was certainly a challenge, right? But one of the things, again, just going back to my background, it's when everybody, well, not everybody, but certainly a good amount of people want to kind of shut down in day-to-day business. I look at that as an opportunity to kind of come out ahead, right? So that's what we did. We have an incredible staff at Contra Costa. We continued to train, but obviously under strict COVID rules, protocols. So we've been going literally for the last year on some training. So we haven't played games, of course, but we certainly invested heavily on building this platform, this infrastructure, and we have a very strong player pool.
When it comes to looking for the players and the personnel and the folks that you want to fill the organization with, how do you want those folks to represent what you're trying to do there in Contra Costa, whether it's mindset in the community, all those different aspects of what makes a business and a franchise? What kind of individuals are you looking for to fill those spaces?
Right. So, from the staffing perspective, we have on our staff, we've got coaches that have played professionally, both domestically and internationally. But more importantly to me on the staffing side is the right culture. We want to mentor these young men along and build a path for them. So, you can look at it, these certain tiers of soccer, everybody's got their models. I mean, some are win only at all costs, play very direct at the younger age groups, so on and so forth. For us, it's really building a path. It's a platform. And we are partnering with a couple of youth clubs out here that truly value development over winning, because we want Contra Costa FC to be a platform that allows these younger players to play through. And we're soon going to be announcing some partnerships in Europe as well. where there's truly a path. It's not just loose change coming out of somebody's mouth. It's a true path, and that is exactly where I want the vision to be for Contra Costa, the culture, and that's community based, right? We have a no pay to play model, which is certainly not everybody can do that, but in this community here, there's so much talent. We wanted everybody to have an opportunity to truly try to reach their goals.
I was going to ask, what's the soccer atmosphere and environment like there in your part of Northern California, but those not familiar with what's going on?
Yeah, so that's the one thing about, California is such a big state, and us being in the East Bay, we have players from Oakland, Berkeley, Richmond, Concord, Walnut Creek, Pittsburgh, Antioch. That's really kind of our player pool. I mean, just alone, between Richmond and Concord and Pittsburgh, you could put together a national team of youth. That's how much talent there is, right? So, and there's a lot of clubs, youth clubs out here. So I wanted to stay out of the youth side only because, they challenge themselves, compete against each other. But I wanted to be somewhere in the middle to really offer value to the community, right? Just yesterday, we put together a free clinic for the youth between 2004 2010 age groups, and we brought in an MLS academy to run that because we wanted to show the kids that we're not charging any money for things like this. We want to build a path for you. Now, somewhere down the line, that may benefit us. At least I hope it does. As long as it fits the journey of the kids and their path to the next level.
Every place and every owner, every entrepreneur that I know has that to do. It could be and I'm going to date myself by using this reference. It could be buried in your BlackBerry. It could be on your iPad. It can be on your laptop. It can be on your desktop. It can be on a dry erase board here in the office, large or small. It could be on a magnet on your refrigerator that you just sit there and you make notations on as you go by. You grab the ice cream, you grab the orange juice. Oh, you think of something, you write down the note. Where is this to do for you, and how big is it right now to get rolling for the NPSL season coming up?
So, great question. I mean, again, this past year, this past 12 months in particular, we have been heads down working on all this. So, like I mentioned earlier, we have some announcements coming that will certainly open probably some eyes. That these type of announcements don't happen overnight. They take time, right? So that punch list, that to-do list has been happening since the day I took over. And again, I'm surrounded by incredible coaches and a staff that, we put something on paper and we think it through. We get everybody's ideas. We flush out what we can, and then we execute. And that's what we've done. So I'm excited. I mean, this pandemic's been rough on everybody, whether it's soccer or outside of soccer. But I'm excited for Contra Costa FC because there's so much talent in our community. And again, I'm not looking to compete with the youth clubs. I'm looking to enhance what they're doing by offering an additional path.
So when you look at the rest of the Golden Gate Conference and the competition that's going to be there when you get into the season, when you look at the other teams, what sticks in your mind about the folks that you're going to be facing?
Just absolute quality. I've known a couple of the owners from afar, who they are, but of course I followed them, right? Because the NPSL was always a journey for us to look at. So, in studying how they approach their league, the quality of play, the, just their preseason out here, some of these guys will play Club America second team. They'll fly in and, it's an amazing atmosphere, right? And again, it's, Northern California there's so much talent. So I'm excited to compete against those clubs because they are top tier run clubs.
when you look at that conference, these are teams that have traditionally made runs in the NPSL playoffs, and at the same time, they just beat each other up when it comes to the regular season. You're talking about Sonoma County, Sacramento, the Stompers, Napa Valley, and then you're adding you guys, Farolito, FC Davis, and Academica. I mean, that's one of the tougher conferences out there.
It is, and that's what excites us, right? I mean, at the end of the day, we're competitors, and again, I've been really impressed from the outside looking in what the Golden Gate Conference has built, and what they offer at level of play. Really impressive.
What are your expectations for season one?
So, it's funny. So since we've announced the NPSL, we've been receiving a lot of inquiries from players, and it's a good question. I mean, we just had a meeting with the staff last week. There's so much talent in our area here. I mean, we currently have a player pool today that's been training for probably the last year, but aggressively the last 9 months of probably about 30. We probably have about 50 players. And so we have a very strong player pool, but some of these inquiries that are coming in it's really opening my eyes saying, do we want to move into a very aggressive model of fielding a team with these really high level players and kind of disrupt what we're building? Because we have an identity, right? I mean, we are very much focused, honestly, on possession soccer, building out of the back, right? We feel that's the way we want to play soccer. That's the way we want our players to come in and start at a very young age, because that offers them a greater path. So that's got its pluses and minuses. And that's because a lot of these players that we see are so talented. Unfortunately, they were never taught how to play some, really possession-based soccer.
So when you look, I guess this is a crystal ball question. Gus Laredo, chairman of Contra Costa FC, hanging out with us for a Soccer Down Here 1v1. The crystal ball question. 5-10 years down the line, with a World Cup coming to this hemisphere in 5 years, where would you like to see Contra Costa continue to grow and evolve in the next handful of years and time?
Yeah, so again, because we're looking to build a true platform, our goal probably in the next 4 to 5 years, probably 5 years, is we will have players that have come through our program at an earlier age and gone through it, and we'll end up playing in Europe and in the MLS. We feel very confident about that. And again, a lot of it has to do because there's such a tremendous player pool in the area already. But we feel by investing heavily as we have, that and some of the strategic partnerships we're putting in place, that would really, it's going to accelerate. It's a big catalyst for everybody involved.
So for those that want to keep an eye on everything that's going on with Contra Costa FC going forward, how do they do it?
They can follow us on our Instagram. It's at Contra Costa FC. Facebook, it's the same, or on the website, ContraCostaFC.com.
What he said. Gus Laredo, chairman of Contra Costa FC. Thanks for hanging out with us for a Soccer Down Here 1v1. We keep an eye on everything going on out there in the Golden Gate, Contra Costa, and the NPSL. Congratulations on making the next step here for the 2021 season. We'll be keeping an eye. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.